Welcome to Career Uprising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, you're listening to episode 152, Out of Work and Out of Time, Staying Afloat When Unemployed. Welcome to the show. Guys, I'm your host, Lorraine Rise. Learn more about myself and my team and what we do at careeruprising.com. So welcome to another show. We are at this point that when this show airs, getting ready to move into the month of February. And I have a feeling 2024 is going to go by pretty fast, just like 2023 did. And we're going to be approaching my 40th birthday, you guys. I'm excited. I'm thinking that when I hit that milestone, I might do a little lessons learned, lessons at the 40-year mark, something like that. So when this show airs, that'll probably be coming out pretty quickly in a couple of weeks afterwards. So anyway, great to talk to you guys again today. So if you didn't hear the show I put out before this 2 weeks ago, I would strongly recommend it. It's not required at all, but this is kind of a continuation of that. We're really talking about getting through unemployment, the tough job market right now, how to kind of manage an ongoing job search. So the episode that I just put out is From Rejection to Resilience, Landing a Job in Today's Market. So that came out on the 15th. I would recommend, if you're listening to this now, go back and listen to the other one afterwards, because I think that they go together very, very well. So today we're going to focus really specifically on the financial aspect of being unemployed, because that is very, very scary. Facing not having any income. Most Americans, I think, are still, or quite a few at least, are still paycheck to paycheck. And that is very, very scary place to be sometimes. So what I want to do first actually is share just really quick some relevant personal stories to give you context and hope if this is something that you are struggling with right now. And many people are. Times have been tough. There's no doubt. The last year or two, it's been tough culturally, socially, economically, health-wise, and there's been a lot of layoffs for sure. And as a kid, I remember my dad's company went through, I don't even remember, probably 6 or 7 rounds of layoffs due to acquisitions. And it was kind of funny because the name of his company kept changing, right? They got bought out so many times. And it was like every couple of years, we would learn Daddy works for a new company now, right? But he never changed desks. He never actually changed jobs. He stayed in the same place for a really long time, as people did back then. But every time this happened, understandably, my parents worried about him getting laid off. Somehow he never did. By the grace of God, I don't know, but somehow he never did. He survived all of those layoffs. But if he had gotten laid off, it would have been bad. We were a family of 6 on one income, and we were working without a net. I mean, quite literally, right? There was no backup plan. My mom predominantly stayed home with us because there was 4 of us kids. So he couldn't afford a layoff. We couldn't. And we were absolutely paycheck to paycheck. And that was something that I was acutely aware of as a child. I don't know why I paid attention to that, but I just did. I've always been really, just economically minded, business minded, I guess. So I kind of watched my dad's career a lot as a kid, and I noticed things, and I paid attention to it. And so it was something that I wouldn't say I lived with a fear or a worry of it, but I was just aware. So I definitely can understand the necessity of this. And so fast forward now to my adult life, when I was in my 20s, I had almost the exact opposite experience, really, as my dad, which is pretty ironic. I was laid off. In fact, I was let go 5 times in 7 years. And it makes me almost laugh. It's kind of funny and sad and ironic how people say that a traditional job in the corporate world is how you find stability compared to working for yourself. And that is such a joke. I didn't find stability until I started working for myself. I'm about 9 years strong here, okay, with career uprising. It'll be 9 years this year. And so I think we have it backwards, but that's a whole nother conversation. Anyway, I know what it's like, both as a child and as an adult, to worry about financial security. I really do. And it is something that I've had to really unpack for years as an adult. It took me a long time to get over that kind of scarcity mindset, a little bit of, when is dad going to get paid again? When is dad going to get paid again? Right? Because then we can go buy groceries and things like that. So I still harbored that mindset for a long time, even when I didn't need it anymore as an adult. So, but I will say too, another kind of story I want to share too, again, fast forwarding to not that long ago, actually, about 7 years ago, my husband and I, we had some tough financial times when my husband was kind of going through some things in his career and kind of taking a chance, and he wanted to go back to the airlines. He thought for a short period of time. So we ended up having to sell one of our cars just to pay our mortgage. We were bleeding money. I think our account was down to like $100 to our name or something. I mean, it was crazy. So we had to sell one of our cars. We cut the cable and took a lot of other measures to control expenses. And luckily, he laid it on his feet very quickly and did decide to go in a different direction again and got a great job within a couple of weeks. But leading up to that and the months leading up to that, it was just down, the checking account for several months straight. At this point in our lives, we're fortunate enough to have plenty of short-term savings, for an emergency. So it's fine now, but that was not the case for a long time. So I also talk about a lot of these stories in my book. So I would, if you're looking for more encouragement or more about this topic, truly, I say this not for self-serving purposes, but you really may benefit from my book. It's called What You Didn't Learn in School. I talk a lot about my humble beginnings, my early career, my layoffs, starting my business, all of that, and all the limiting beliefs that I had to work through to get to where I am. So if you want to read more, go to careeruprising.com/book. There's a couple different places you can buy it. But, I'm sharing all of this too to help you know that if you are unemployed and running out of time to find a job, I understand. My family's been there, and I personally have been there many times. And I want to share today some basic and practical strategies that I think and I hope may help you to make the money that you have last as long as possible. And I am certainly not a financial expert. I have my own CPA and financial advisor. So that is not at all my area of expertise. So that's why the things I'm going to share with you in a moment are a little bit more high level, big picture, right? We're not going to get into the weeds of finances. That's not something I should advise you on probably, but I am going to share with you a couple of strategies that have worked for me. Some of them might be obvious, some of them a little less obvious, maybe things you haven't thought of. But it also depends, of course, on your own unique situation for you to determine what strategies make sense for you. Okay. So let's take a short commercial break. You'll learn a little bit more about that book that I was just talking about. And when we come back, I'm going to go through 6 strategies for how you can stay afloat and maintain your finances when you are unemployed. We'll be right back. Hey there, listeners. Thanks for tuning in to Career Uprising. I have some exciting news for you. This show has been going steady since 2018, and I have amassed well over 100 episodes so far. So I decided to do something big and bold. I put the best of all of my teachings together in a book. That's right. I have a brand new book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all the major outlets. It's called What You Didn't Learn in School: Lessons on Growth, Change, and Living Your Best Life. This book contains 30 powerful lessons from my podcast and my work as a career coach to help you live your best life. Learn how to increase your confidence, get rid of imposter syndrome forever, finally get clarity on your career path, and so much more. This book covers everything from careers to finances to health to relationships and more. Head over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or your favorite book retailer and pre-order your copy of What You Didn't Learn in School. Then go to my website, careeruprising.com, to learn more about how Career Uprising can help you transform your career and your life. Let's get back to the show. All right, guys, welcome back. Let's get into the meat of it here. All right. So I've got some strategies to help you with your finances if you are facing unemployment or in unemployment now. And I put these in somewhat of a logical order, meaning that these are kind of the order of how I would approach or I would implement these things, but you do what works for you. You may do some of these things, you may do all of them. Maybe you'll do none of them. It's up to you. But these are kind of the order which I would personally probably tackle these strategies. So if you are losing your income, number one, this is so obvious. Obviously, you want to immediately reduce your expenses. Duh, right? I just have to say that. That makes the most sense. Okay, there are nearly always things that can be cut down or eliminated. You know, cutting the cable. We've done that at my house. We've gone without, Comcast or any other provider and just done like one or two streaming networks. Absolutely. Stop eating out, cutting on things like maybe you have cleaners, you have mowers, anything that's not really critical or that you can start doing yourself. Just think about those things and go through line by line everything that you pay for in your bank account. And believe me, I have done this so many times. I'm like the bank account queen. I'm checking everything to make sure it's all right. Go through all of that line by line and ask yourself the hard question, do we absolutely have to have this right now? There's a lot of things that you don't. Okay. So that's number one. That is the most obvious and basic thing that you should do first. 2, use your savings if you have it. Okay. Hopefully you have an emergency fund of some kind set aside for situations like this. If so, once you've reduced your expenses, then go ahead and start dipping into this. And don't be afraid to use it if you need to. I mean, that's why you have something like this. But I also know a lot of people don't have that luxury. That's why cutting your expenses is the first thing that you need to do. And perhaps how deeply you cut those expenses might depend on whether or not you have savings. So these two things kind of go hand in hand a little bit. But so that's number 2. So cut your expenses and then from there start dipping in to your savings if you have it. So from there, number 3, let's think about those two things are focused on, minimizing the outgoing money and that kind of thing. How can we make you some money, even if it's just a little bit, while you're looking for a job? Well, there's a couple of ways. I really want you to think about freelance, project-based work. Okay, the gig economy is growing. I literally make my living on the gig economy. That's what I do. All right. What I do is project-based work, one client at a time. And if I am able to make a full-time income from it, you can surely make a part-time income for a temporary measure. For example, LinkedIn is a great tool for this. They have their services page. So it used to be called ProFinder. Now it's called LinkedIn Services. And it's basically a freelance marketplace. And I believe it's free to sign up. I think you used to need a premium. You might not anymore. I don't think you do anymore, but premium's not that expensive anyway. But I don't think you need it anymore. But I have participated in this freelance marketplace for many years. I don't even know, 7 now. I've lost count. And it's been amazing. It has just fueled my business. So what it means is you sign up as a service provider for whatever your skills or your talents are. And then you can bid on proposals for customers who are looking for that type of work. And all LinkedIn does is connect you to the customers and helps you submit, proposals. And then from there, you can have conversations and enroll people. And then LinkedIn gets out of it, right? So that it's just a freelance marketplace. They're connecting you. It's like a Fiverr or an Upwork, but to me, it's a lot better. I only use the LinkedIn services. So what can you do on a freelance marketplace? What types of work? A lot. Just to name a few: photography, advertising, tech support, writing, editing, coaching, consulting. There's so much more. LinkedIn has a whole list of all of the potential services. CPAs and tax advisors are on there. Think about taking what you did in your day job and selling it one-on-one to consumers on a freelance basis. It's not that costly to get going on something like this. And hey, it's even something you could continue to do potentially even once you find a job to get more money. So I'm all about this. I love LinkedIn services. I guess I'm doing a commercial for them right now. But I know a lot about how it works, and I think it's a great tool. And I also, whatever website you use, I just think that freelance project-based work is such a great way to make at least some money in the interim to help keep you afloat. So really, really consider and research and look into this. It's not as hard as you think. But beyond that, what you could also do instead or in addition to that is tip number 4, which is consider just getting a job, just getting a part-time or lower paying job. I know that might not sound pleasant. Nobody wants to go from being a manager or director to working retail or anything like that. But if you've got bills to pay and a family, some money is better than none. Absolutely. So consider doing this pretty quickly, especially if you don't have savings. You might not have a choice, but you could deplete your savings a lot faster than you think. So I would consider doing this pretty much at the onset of your unemployment. Even if you think you're good for a while, if you don't have 6 months or more of savings built up, you need some income. All right. So whether you get a part-time job somewhere or you also do some freelance project work, you're going to need to get some income going while you job search. Okay. At least on a part-time basis. It's taking people longer to find jobs right now. So you want to be smart and you want to be proactive. And hey, if you get a job faster than you think, well, you can quit that low-paying job, right? Don't worry about that. Don't worry at all. They will find somebody else. All right, number 4. You might not think about this one, but if you really think that you are going to be getting into trouble financially, consider using your home equity line of credit if you have one. So if you're a homeowner, you have a HELOC, as it's called. I'm sure you probably know what that is. So there's income that you can tap into if you need it. You probably don't think about using that to pay your bills, and that's not something you might normally want to do. But if you're facing eviction or something like that, or I guess you wouldn't be evicted if you had a home, but if you're looking at potentially losing your home or something and you need money, you might want to think about borrowing against that. Again, I'm not a financial expert, but I know that we have used that for things that are not home improvement wise in the past. So it's your money. You can use it for what you want. Even just a small bit maybe could help you, to pay something off or whatever you need. But the repayment period on a HELOC is a lot longer. So the payments are usually really low compared to taking out a traditional loan. So think about that. Maybe talk to somebody more qualified than me. Talk to your financial advisor or somebody about that. But it could be an option for you if you own a home and you need cash for something. And lastly, I put this one as last because I think that this is a tough one for people. But consider asking your family and friends for help. Okay, I know it's not comfortable to ask people for help, especially, people that your friends and family, and that's why I'm kind of listing this last, but it can be a good thing. If you have a good relationship with your family and they know that you are looking honestly in earnest, they might be willing to help you. And how they help you could look like a lot of different things. It could be directly borrowing money from them. I know that can get a little messy sometimes, but for some families, it could work. I have seen clients pay for my program with money they've borrowed from family and from friends. So if you're motivated and you need it, there may be somebody in your network who could help you. And it's not just about paying for my program. I mean, it's whatever. Maybe just giving you a loan to pay your bills during this time. Or maybe there's another way they can help with you. Maybe you could move in with them temporarily. Maybe they could, if you end up getting a part-time job, maybe they could watch your kids so you don't have to pay for childcare. I don't know. I'm just trying to get creative here, right? I bet you if you put your heads together and talk to your family and friends, you guys could come up with some way that they could help you, whether it's giving you money or just doing something for you that would save you money during this time. There's got to be a way, and friends and family do want to help. So don't count this out. This could be an option for you for sure. Okay. Hey, I have lived with family twice. Okay. I've lived in my in-laws' basement. Yeah, I think twice. Each time we bought a house, we temporarily moved back in so we could pay off a bunch of stuff and help to buy our houses. So I am speaking from experience here. Okay. Unemployment is scary, you guys. I hope these tips will help you a little bit so that you can have some support and have some ideas of how you can get through this time. But it's really about planning. It's about being proactive, not waiting to either get help or implement these strategies. You need to start from the onset and be conservative about things. And if you end up getting a job faster than you think, well, more power to you, right? But you cannot be too careful. Absolutely not. And one thing that I did in my program that was new just a year ago is payment plans, because I know people need help but have a hard time affording it when they're unemployed. So we have payment plans for our program now that get the payments very low, even under $100 a month. I mean, really crazy low. So we've partnered with PayPal for those. And I love that because we've seen people take advantage of it so they can get the help that they need, but it's not going to break the bank. They don't have to have all the money up front. So get creative with things like that. And please let us know if we can help you. As somebody who has been there time and time again, I feel your pain. I get it. And there is help out there if you are unemployed. So I hope this helped. And I will be back in February with more shows. And I hope you guys are also off to a great start in 2024. All right. Take care, guys. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show is brought to you by inflowradio.com. The best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.